Throughout human history, we've looked to the stars to understand ourselves. The ancient practice of astrology assigns personality traits based on when we're born. But what if these cosmic patterns reveal something darker? For decades, criminal psychologists have studied serial killers, searching for patterns in their behavior, their childhoods, their methods. But there's another pattern that's rarely discussed, one that traces back to the stars themselves. In 2019, an FBI analyst named Dr. Catherine Ramsland began noticing something unusual while reviewing case files of America's most notorious killers. The birth dates of certain types of killers weren't randomly distributed across the zodiac. They clustered in specific signs. At first, she dismissed it as coincidence. But as the sample size grew to over 500 documented serial killers, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Let's look at the data. Gemini, the sign of duality, has produced more documented serial killers than any other zodiac sign. Jeffrey Dahmer, David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, and Kenneth Bianchi, one of the Hillside Stranglers, were all born under Gemini. Is it mere coincidence that the sign representing two faces, the twins, would produce killers known for leading double lives? Men who appeared normal to their communities while harboring monstrous secrets? Pisces, the dreamer of the zodiac, comes in second. John Wayne Gacy, Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, and Dennis Rader, BTK, were all Pisces. These killers were known for their elaborate fantasy lives and ritualistic behaviors. Criminal psychologist Dr. Helen Morrison noted, "The Pisces killers seem to blur the line between fantasy and reality more completely than others. Their crime scenes often reflect an internal narrative that makes sense only to them." Sagittarius ranks third, with killers like Ted Bundy, Edmund Kemper, and Dennis Nielsen. These killers were characterized by high intelligence, careful planning, and a chilling ability to appear trustworthy. But the connection goes deeper than just birth signs. When researchers examined the positions of other celestial bodies at the time of these killers' births, they found something even more disturbing. Over 70% of documented serial killers had Mars, the planet of aggression, in what astrologers call hard aspect to Pluto, the planet of transformation and death at the time of their birth. This astrological configuration is said to create intense, potentially destructive energy that, if not channeled properly, can manifest as violence. Dr. Ramsland's research partner, forensic astrologer Laura Tempest, explains, "We're not saying the stars made these people kill, but there appears to be a correlation between certain cosmic configurations and the potential for extreme behavior patterns." Now, correlation doesn't equal causation, and mainstream science dismisses astrology entirely. But the statistical anomalies are difficult to explain away. When researchers controlled for other factors like childhood trauma, brain injury, and genetic predisposition to violence, the astrological patterns remained consistent. The FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit has quietly incorporated astrological data into their profiling methods since 2021, though they don't publicly acknowledge this practice. Perhaps the most chilling case is that of the actual Zodiac killer, who terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s. He chose his moniker deliberately, signing his letters with the symbol of a crossed circle, the same symbol astrologers use to represent Earth in a birth chart. His cryptic ciphers contained numerous astrological references that investigators initially missed. When finally decoded in 2020 using astronomical algorithms, one message read, "The stars guide my hand. I am born of Taurus, but Mars rules my actions." The Zodiac killer was never caught, but based on the astrological profile developed from his letters, investigators now believe he was born between April 27th and May 3rd, 1938, when Mars was in exact opposition to Pluto. So what does this mean? Are some people cosmically destined to become killers? Dr. Ramsland is careful with her conclusions. We're not suggesting determinism here. Many people born under these same astrological conditions live perfectly normal, non-violent lives. But there appears to be a predisposition, a potential energy that, when combined with other risk factors, may increase the likelihood of extreme behavior. In 2022, A controversial study at the University of Edinburgh examined brain scans of violent offenders grouped by zodiac sign. The results showed distinct patterns of neural activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center that corresponded with specific signs. Gemini subjects showed unusual bilateral activity, essentially operating as if they had two brains, working independently. Pisces subjects demonstrated abnormal connections between areas governing fantasy and reality. Law enforcement agencies have begun using this research in unexpected ways. In 2023, during a series of unsolved murders in Seattle, police quietly increased surveillance during periods when Mars and Pluto formed challenging aspects in the sky. 2 weeks later, they apprehended a suspect who had, in fact, been born with Mars square Pluto. The detective who made the arrest later admitted, "I was skeptical at first, but we were desperate, and it worked. I don't know if it was luck or something more, but I'm not dismissing this approach anymore." The implications extend beyond criminal investigation. If cosmic patterns correlate with behavioral tendencies, could we identify potential violent offenders before they act? This raises profound ethical questions. Should we monitor individuals born under certain astrological configurations? Would that constitute a form of cosmic profiling? Dr. Tempest believes there's a more constructive approach. If certain astrological patterns correlate with potential for violence, we could develop early intervention strategies, not to stigmatize, but to help channel those energies constructively. Ancient cultures understood the power of celestial influences. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and Maya all studied the stars, not just for navigation or agriculture, but to understand human behavior. Perhaps in our rush to embrace scientific materialism, we've dismissed wisdom that could help us understand the darkest corners of human nature. As one reformed violent offender told researchers, "I always felt like something else was driving me, something beyond my control. When they showed me my birth chart and explained the Mars-Pluto aspect, it was the first time I felt like I could understand the rage inside me. And understanding it was the first step to controlling it." In 2021, a team of data scientists at MIT conducted a blind analysis of birth data from 2,000 incarcerated individuals without knowing their crimes. Using only astrological configurations, they were able to identify violent offenders with 62% accuracy, significantly better than random chance. When they added traditional risk factors like childhood trauma and substance abuse, the accuracy jumped to 78%. The lead researcher, Dr. Marcus Chen, initially set out to debunk the astrological connection. "I was certain we'd find nothing," he said. "I've spent my career in data science and I don't believe in astrology. But the numbers don't lie. There's something here we can't explain with our current understanding of human behavior." The pattern extends beyond Western astrology. When researchers applied Chinese zodiac principles to the same data set, they found that individuals born in the year of the tiger and year of the dragon were overrepresented among violent offenders. In Vedic astrology, the ancient Indian system, the placement of Rahu, the north node of the moon, in certain houses correlated with violent tendencies. These cross-cultural correlations suggest something fundamental may be at work, something that ancient cultures recognized and modern science is only beginning to rediscover. 2023, the case of Martin Reeves, known as the Midnight Strangler, brought these theories into the public eye. Reeves had murdered 7 women in Oregon before being captured. During his trial, his defense team introduced his astrological chart as evidence, arguing that his Mars-Pluto opposition, combined with a rare Saturn return, created a perfect storm of violent impulses that diminished his culpability. The judge dismissed this defense, but the case sparked a national conversation about free will, determinism, and the extent to which we are shaped by forces beyond our control. Perhaps most disturbing is what this research suggests about future crimes. Astrological configurations repeat in cycles. The same cosmic patterns that correlated with serial killer activity in the 1970s and 1980s are set to recur between 2025 and 2030. Dr. Ramsland has briefed law enforcement agencies on these upcoming patterns. We're not making predictions, she emphasizes, but we are suggesting increased vigilance during these periods. Some researchers have taken a different approach, focusing on how astrological knowledge might be used for prevention rather than prediction. Dr. Tempest has developed an intervention program for at-risk youth born under concerning astrological configurations. The program teaches mindfulness, emotional regulation, and constructive outlets for aggressive energy. If there is a cosmic predisposition, she explains, then awareness is power. By understanding these energies, we can channel them positively rather than destructively. Early results from her program show a 47% reduction in violent incidents among participants compared to control groups. So what's the truth? Is there really a connection between the cosmos and killers? Or is this just another attempt to make sense of senseless violence? The data suggests something is there, a pattern too consistent to dismiss entirely. But like all patterns in human behavior, it's complex, multifaceted, and resistant to simple explanations. What we do know is this: the same stars that guided ancient sailors across vast oceans may also illuminate the darkest impulses of human nature. And in that illumination, perhaps we can find not just understanding, but prevention. The next time you check your horoscope, remember that the cosmic forces it describes shape more than just your day. They may shape the very essence of who we are, for better or worse. Thanks for watching Dark Thoughts, where we delve into the shadows of reality that others are afraid to explore. If there's a dark corner of human experience you'd like us to investigate, leave your suggestions in the comments below. Until next time, question everything, fear nothing, and remember, the darkest thoughts often lead to the brightest truths.